What's up, everybody? So we got another iteration of Whiskies of the Galaxy for today. So this will be day 4 of the Whiskies of the Galaxy Advent Calendar by Flaviar. So go ahead and open this up. We will pull out the little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy again. Get that ready. And then we're going to look for day 4. So there's day 4. Pop this guy open. Pull out this little vial. So day 4 says whiskey, product of Australia, 40% alcohol by volume. So as usual, we will go ahead, open the bottle up, and take a sniff. So, I don't know, it smells like a typical whiskey. I'm not getting really any drastic notes in the smell. So go ahead and pour it into our little glass here. We'll give it a taste and see what it's like. So it's not bad. I mean, it's pretty good. It's got a bit sweeter taste to it than most whiskeys that I'm used to. Does have that nice warming sensation coming up after you swallow it. So you do get that nice warming sensation coming back up, and there's not much of it's pretty smooth, I would say. I would say it's a little bit not quite as smooth as the Catoctin Creek Rye that we did, which was the day 2, but not as harsh as the Wyoming whiskey, which was day 1. And I don't mean the Wyoming whiskey was like super harsh either. I'm just saying like that kind of bite or like a little bit of the take your breath away. There was definitely more of that in the Wyoming whiskey than this one. And there's a little bit more of that in this one than in the Catoctin Creek, which was day 2. We'll give it another sip. Yeah, I would still agree with my previous statement. Not quite as smooth as the Catoctin Creek, but still smoother than the Wyoming. And definitely sweeter taste. So go ahead and open up the book to day 4 and see what she says. So Starward Twofold Australian Double Grain Whiskey. So tasting notes, that would be why it's so much sweeter. A lot of the other ones just listed like fruity or fruit. Let's see. Let's go back a couple pages. So like this one just says fruit. Same thing with, I believe the day 1 was floral, not fruit. This one lists all the different fruits instead of just saying fruit. I mean, it does, but that fruit is very small, but it lists berries, apple, pineapple, fruit. And then it says nutty, caramel, woody, spicy, and vanilla. So again, I would agree with the fruits because of it is a sweeter whiskey, and then obviously the caramel and the woody, but you're gonna get that in pretty much any whiskey because of being aged in oak barrels, and caramel is gonna be typically a tasting note in pretty much any whiskey you drink. So go ahead and scan this QR code and see what the website says about it. All right, so Starward Twofold Double Grain, it's rated a 7.8 out of 10 with 231 votes, and this is on the Flaviar website if this is your first video that you're watching. So a 750 milliliter bottle is gonna run you $30.99, which is actually pretty cheap, and I would pay that for this. Like I said, it's pretty good. It's definitely a bit sweeter. So that's all the tasting notes we just talked about. And here's the about. Okay. That would also add to the sweetness. So it says a double grain whiskey aged in X wine barrels from the land of Australia. So that would also add to why it's a bit sweeter. Like any sort of like whiskey that you get that's been aged in port barrels to like finish it, typically have a little bit of a sweeter taste. So it says Melbourne is famous for its insane weather. All 4 seasons present themselves in one day like it's a demo. It says the changes may be obnoxious to some people, but they're perfect for maturing whiskey. So Starward began as a producer of malt whiskey in 2007. Founder David Vitale has since expanded it to a range of whiskeys and bottled cocktails that have taken the world by storm. He sources his barley from the nearby farms, while the maturation barrels come from some of Australia's most famous wine regions. Think the Barossa Valley and Yarra Valley. Starward's whiskey spends at least 2 years in red wine barrels, which is when crazy climate takes over and accelerates the process to mature the whiskey in Melbourne years. Their spirits are unique and unmistakably Aussie. The guys at Starward had a vision for creating a whiskey that is both affordable and approachable. Thus, they've developed the twofold double grain whiskey, maintaining their no compromises approach. Technically, Starward twofold whiskey is hard to describe. Usually when you hear the term blended whiskey, it means a bunch of malt and grain spirits assembled from several distillery sources. But really, this is a marriage of two by blending a malt barrel whiskey with a balancing and aromatic wheat spirit. And since Melbourne sits amongst Australia's wine country, the combined spirit is aged in some of the world's best red wine barrels. So down into Doug Dogson's smartass corner, says the two biggest whiskey producers. We already read that one yesterday. Here we go. Melbourne's crazy 4 seasons in a day climate means it takes a fraction of the time it takes to make whiskey in Scottish Isles or Ireland. The original Starward facility was actually an old flight hangar in Essendon Fields. And back to the beginning. So that's pretty much it on the website. So that actually explains a lot of why I was getting it or tasting it to be a sweeter whiskey. And that's due to the fact that all of the fruit that they put into it, as well as aged in the red wine barrels. And the fact that it is also blended with a malt barley whiskey and blended with a wheat spirit. So that wheat is kind of going to give it a little bit of a sweetness or a slightly different taste as well. Like I said, it is good. I did enjoy it. I would rank it, out of the past ones we've done, I would rank it between the very first one, which was Wyoming Whiskey Day 1, and the Day 2 Catoctin Creek. I'll put this right in between them. So Catoctin Creek still being the leader out of all of these. This coming in second. The Wyoming Whiskey coming in third. And then the Day 3, which was the Israeli peated whiskey, would be ranked number 4 right now. So that's all I have for this video. If you've got any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And as always, stay safe out there. Keep the rubber side down. I'll see you on the road. Bandit out.